Why does performing feel so intense and nerve-wracking while practice is so, boring? Does it have to be this way? Have you ever noticed how many unexpected things we notice while performing? We live and die by every note, and even every part of every note. This one buzzed, I cut that one short. I was off on that fingering and caused a slightly bad sound. Why are these things happening now? Arghh! Or your preferred exasperated grunt. Well, it shouldn't be unexpected because it's always been like that. When we're performing, we are in the moment. I used to hear people say this as if I understood what that gobbledygook meant. I didn't, and I don't know that a lot of us do. It's important to understand, as that is what makes performance feel so different than practice. What being in the moment means is that we are actively involved in evaluating everything that is going on every second. What are you doing right now? Seriously, what are you doing and thinking right now? And now? And now? You weren't really thinking about that, were you? Kind of hard to do, actually, as we're pretty much always thinking about 1 or 10 other things. Then we're thrust into that intense focus as we walk on stage. All of a sudden, everything really matters a lot, and we notice everything. Why not do that part in practice and make performing the more laid-back part? In our practice, this means noticing every note, even every part of every note. You know, like we do when we're on stage. This is a fully trainable skill that will be hard at first, then get easier over time. There's a word for that: learning. Try it at home. Play a section of music and listen to every note as closely as possible. Do you notice anything you wouldn't like to happen on stage? Anything at all? Do you notice how you thought something like, well, those are just little mistakes. I won't make them as I play it more. You will make them as you play it more, especially in performance. Now play it more and keep noticing. Pay attention to every sound you can hear. Do you notice that you're noticing more and more? I call this the opening of focus, and you'll notice it happens when you start to notice. It is a glorious thing to see someone awaken to this awareness, and it means we've gotten a little smarter. Nice job. Kind of cool. Do you notice as you keep doing this how hard it's becoming to get the notes to sound exactly as you would like? The increased focus creates control problems as the new technique confuses each move. This is known as cognitive load theory and is a good thing to understand. That's one way things can get worse and worse as we perform live. Now all you need is a stage and an audience, and you've got a concert performance. You've recreated it in the practice room. Did you notice anything else? It wasn't a whole lot of fun, was it? It was actually discouraging and frustrating, wasn't it? If you're a punch-the-wall type, you probably wanted to punch the wall, or at least Roger Waters. It is absolutely the last way you would want to spend your practice time, isn't it? Bingo! It is that type of thing that few will do. Those few seem really talented when they perform. Why not join them? Because this does get easier the more you do it. In fact, it becomes fun. The last way we want to spend our practice time is the first way we should be spending our practice time. Do you see what's happening? All of the things that you got bushwhacked by in your performance are now bubbling up in your practice well before your performance. Remember thinking in performance, blunderfarb. If I just had a little more time to practice these little mistakes, then I'd be fine. I wish I had a little more time to practice these things. Ever wish you had just a few more days to practice as you're walking out on stage to perform alone or with a group? Guess what? Your wish has been granted. Right now is a little and probably a lot more practice time before that moment arrives. Why not practice in the moment like a concert now? And now? And now? The more we put ourselves in this unpleasant state of noticing and fixing, the better we will get at it and the longer we will be able to do it continuously as we build the mental strength to do so. In fact, over time, the challenge of finding these things and solving them is like leveling up in a video game. It actually, don't laugh, becomes a fun challenge. I've experienced it, taught it, seen it, and there's some good research on this state called flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, spelled just like it sounds. Instead of practicing without much care or concern and freaking out when the focus hits us on stage, just flip it. Don't focus like crazy on stage and not focus in practice. Focus like crazy in practice, and you don't need to really pay that much attention on stage. Focus like crazy in practice, which will develop new and different things on which to focus, and play with little care in concert. The great part is there's no audience to be embarrassed in front of while you focus during practice. You will make mistakes. Remember, this is now like performance was, like it used to be with all the mistakes. So there will be mistakes. Mistakes don't mean you aren't talented. They mean you're human and you're learning, and they are incredibly valuable pieces of information as to what you should be focusing on. Please check out Carol Dweck's work on mindset to learn more about this. Nobody ever, anywhere, in the history of everywhere, got any good at anything without a lot of mistakes along the way. Period. You kind of have to choose when you're going to experience them, in your practice or in performance. The earlier we are in our development, beginner, intermediate, advanced, whatever, the more mistakes will be made and the more discouraging it will be. See how this works? See why the early learning stages are so discouraging? But you can get through them pretty quickly. As we make mistakes and work on those problems, we solve them. And they happen less and less over time as we careen towards satisfying performance. Future you has been granted your wish and an opportunity to take care of all of those nerve-wracking moments that will happen on stage before they happen. What will you do with it? It is worth noting that this type of thing is taught in general as mindfulness, and it is worth studying. Meditation, which works on the same thing, works great too, and I recommend it for many reasons, including strengthening the focus muscle for use in other activities, such as practice. I found that when it comes to practicing, most people are not ready for those type of steps. They're the larger steps later on. And just starting with what I discussed earlier is enough to get going in a pretty big way. As we incorporate and learn how to use this, it is an area of study all its own. Be open to those other things as knowledge grows. Some years ago, when I first started to understand the research about learning, I came across this paper by the accomplished researcher Michael Posner. I've put the link below. I thought, yeah, well, maybe. And as my knowledge and curiosity grew, I came to understand what he was getting at. Profound. Your mileage may vary. I'm Greg Goodhart, the learning coach, and you've got all the talent you need. So why not enjoy it by getting to work?